What is up everyone, my name's Al from GamesRib and today we are going to be discussing the Evercade, but this time we're kind of talking about the rumours that are starting to float around of a home console version. Now obviously the system and its games are currently only available to play on the handheld version. Don't get me wrong though, the handheld version is, I'm not going to say perfection, but it's getting there. It's a really decent version, and with every firmware update it's getting better and better. Now obviously you can already play it on a TV via mini HDMI to standard HDMI, so you can do that. So you know, you can do that, so it's essentially like using a controller on the TV. Now, like I said, there are rumours, you know, even being sort of spoken about, kind of prodded around by the actual developers of the Evercade themselves. So it's got me wondering, why would we need a home version? Now, I personally think, this is my own personal opinion, I'll give my pros and cons. Now, the pros, I would say, to be honest, would be as long as it's got same room multiplayer. Now, obviously that would have to be via, I can only imagine that would probably be a USB connection, and then hopefully you'd have a standard HDMI on the back of the console to then connect to the TV. Now obviously the system would, you assume, would still be using the same cartridges as the Evercade, the standard Evercade, which I think it would, because it wouldn't make any sense to change it. And I don't think they're, you know, producing wise, they're at a decent cost. So I don't think they'd change it there. So, you know, I think the main thing for me would be multiplayer. Like I said, because you can already play the Evercade on the TV anyway, so multiplayer is where it's at. Now with that, I don't know how it'll be built, whether it would even start to have internet connectivity. For me, with internet connectivity, it would be more for firmware updates. I personally still am kind of against an online store. I know some people want that, which is fair enough, but for myself, I don't want internet connectivity, because then it feels like it's branching away from being a retro console to just another console that's already on the market. There's tons of consoles that are just connected to the internet and you can play games. Yeah, a lot of them don't have cartridges to collect, but doesn't that then lose the idea of collecting cartridges by just being able to go and download the games? The idea is that we get excited for these releases. The fact that, you know, you've got the indie one coming, you've got the Worms one coming, you've got the Codemasters game one coming, you've also got, well, hopefully one day, the Ocean Collection one coming. But, you know, that's my own say on it. I mean, obviously, feel free to drop into the chat sometimes on the It's Much More channel live streams. Quite recently, obviously, I was on one of them. Got to meet Retro Chef, Retro Bear, It's Much More Already New, Crowd Gaming UK, as well as I think his name's Guardino Plays. If I've got that correct, I hope I have. But obviously got to meet those guys, so obviously make sure to drop a sub for all of them and go view their channels and their content. But for me, that's the only way I'd want internet connectivity. Yeah, I know what's going to happen is as soon as you do that, people may start hacking the system. I'm sure they already have. Not something I want to see. Physical media only, that's the way for a home console. Now, talking controller design, how would we have it? Would it have to have, you know, would it just be the D-pad and 4 buttons and a couple shoulder buttons just like you see on the standard Evercade console anyway? Or would we have an analog stick? I think we got to stick to D-pad, because again, we're then going to start branching into newer games. Now, they've already said PlayStation 1 is pretty much on the cards, those kind of games. And obviously arcade, I don't think we want to get rid of the D-pad. You could obviously, you know, build on the D-pad with, you know, micro switches, etc., to make it maybe a little bit more responsive and a bit less like the Saturn controller. But I think we'd be stupid if we went away from the current configuration. Now, obviously, maybe 2 shoulder buttons on each side, just to kind of future-proof it for PlayStation 1 games, but do not go any higher than that. And, you know, I obviously like the style of the Saturn controller or the Genesis controller, Mega Drive controller. They're really comfortable to hold, and I think they work perfectly for a console like this. Now, the other thing that's been mentioned quite a lot recently is arcade games. And when I mean arcade games, I don't mean the older ones or older versions of them. I mean actual arcade games. I mean, just imagine playing Neo Geo games, like the arcade ones. So Metal Slug, etc. you know, as well as Daytona USA and just games like that, you know, racing games, you know, it really does open up a world of opportunities if you start doing those kind of games. Again, that's kind of been hinted at, so we're not getting any solid news at the moment, but obviously if I do get any news, then I'll make sure to drop it on the channel. So give me a like, a subscribe and a comment, and I'll see you all soon. You can now support the channel on patreon.com/gamesrip, as well as remember to like, comment and subscribe.